So just want to make sure that you all can hear me and see me. So let me just check everything and make sure that we are loading. All right, cool. I think we're live right now, so welcome. So today I'm really going to study a little bit into actually what is happening, especially at the end of the year. We have just after 6 big launches, and now there's going to be even more coming up. Seems like the developer don't want us to rest. That kind of situation, right? Especially with the holidays coming up. Wow, they're going to start so many different launches at the beginning of 2025. So, well, if today is your first time joining me, well, do also subscribe to the channel and put on the notification bell so that whenever I do, whether it's a live video or my weekly videos that I push out in terms of education, in terms of knowledge, you can be notified. And thank you for following at the same time. So I just want to make sure that I think we are good to go. Great. Yes. All right. So yeah. So in this video, I really want to kind of cover the next big hype kind of situation. And I always believe that when there is something that is a little bit hyped up, this is where we as busy professionals and homeowners have to be a little bit more careful. And that's the reason why this video is for. And especially if today you have missed out maybe on your EOK, Chuan, or even Nava, be it whether your queue number is not so good or you find that the pricing is a little bit too high to stomach, then you may want to actually go for other future launches that's coming in 2025. Then this video is really for you because we're going to cover the very first launch of 2025, and that is Orie in Toa Payoh. All right, so I'm going to cover quite a fair bit in terms of what Orie is about. So as usual, I will not cover all the details that you can actually search online. I think those you can easily look on Google, even YouTube. But I want to go a little bit more deeper into doing certain comparison. So we're going to go from a top-down perspective from the entire Toa Payoh, and we're going to pull out some of the nearby properties to do some comparison. And also, most importantly, what we have learned from EOK as well as Trump Park's lesson that we may not want to follow through because of the hype situation. All right, so if today this is your first time here, give me a shout out. At least I know that you are live with me as well. Great. All right, cool. Let me just start and share my screen so that we can get this going. So I'll be sharing also not just about Orie, right? I will also be covering some of the details of what we can do as a homeowner, as a busy professionals, and whether Orie is really as what they mentioned, how good it is. So let us really study this a little bit deeper. All right, so based on the location wise, okay, I think it's no secret that it is very close to the MRT, which is within 5 minutes walk. So later on, what we're going to do is we're going to use 3 bedroom example. All right, so in this video, we're going to only cover the 3 bedroom. And if you want to go for the 1, 2, or even 4 and 5 bedrooms, and you really want a little bit more detailed analysis, then do reach out to us. And we have actually done all the research, all the comparison to help you in your process before you go and ballot. Okay, I stress again, go reach out to us before you ballot. Okay, not after. Because if it's after you purchase already, you may be short of time. That's one, and maybe even after purchase, you don't know what you are actually buying into lah. So we want to be a little bit proactive, and we want to prepared ahead. So for Orie, we're going to use 3 bedroom as an indicator for the average per square foot, because if you're going for 1 to 2 bedroom, they are usually higher PSF. And for the bigger units, 4 and 5 bedrooms, they're usually lower PSF. So let us take a look at based on the average per square foot in those areas in Toa Payoh, right? Because besides Orie, there's a few younger properties, and of course, we have also the very, very older properties, which we're going to kind of mix them up a little bit to do some comparison. So using this, right, come, let's just use our Pro Trend, right, to start searching for some of the properties nearby. All right, so we're going to do a quick comparison for Orie, right? Oh, actually, you can use this. Yeah, so we go to our Pro Map, right? And let us just type in Orie and let's see what comes out. Let's see. We actually, oops, give me a second. Let me just do this. From this analysis, you will be able to actually determine what are the details. As you can see, because Orie has not been launched, that's why we don't have data being tabulated. But what we can do is we can actually pull out the nearby properties and take a look at the 3-bedroom types. And from here, you can only see Orie and the Gem Residences. And Gem Residences is only within the 200 meters, but we are able to actually drag this all the way to a kilometer to see what are the properties that we can do comparison. And let me just rank them into the youngest to the oldest, which is the Orie coming up in 2028 or 2029, then followed by Gem Residences, TOP in 2019, as well as Trivista 2011, and then Bishan Loft in 2003, as so and so forth. So what we're trying to see is, let's say today we pull out this 1 km of properties and let's take a look from a comparison perspective, right? We want to go straight into this. So let's look at Gem Residences. As you can see, they have even from 1 bedroom all the way to 5+ bedroom. And they even highlight the range of prices and the sizes as well. So one of the key things that you also must understand that today, if let's say we're talking about 3 bedrooms only, right? Let's take a look at 3 bedrooms for Gem Residences. Let us pull out some of all this data. So you can see Gem Residences, their TOP 2019 with 578 units. And most of them who purchase the property are also mostly Singaporeans and PR. All right, so this gives us a good indication on who are the buyers in future as well who's going to buy this. So if we are purely looking at 3 bedrooms, so this is where we need to kind of study in terms of the 3-bedroom property prices, and let us take a look on an average. So we must also understand for Gem Residences, they do have 3 bedrooms, and they have a very unique, we call it triple key 3 bedrooms. All right. So what is triple key? So you have heard easily about dual key, right? Meaning 2 units, you can actually rent it out to 2 person separately. But in Gem Residences, interestingly, there is triple key, which means 3 rooms you can actually rent it out separately. And this is a very advantageous for a lot of investors who don't want to pay ABSD. That's why they go for dual key or even triple key. But also take a look at today, if you can see some of the transactions, right? We have the 980 that has happened in May 10 at 1.73 million. And if you look at the smaller unit, 947, how come a smaller unit, their transactions is actually much higher in terms of PSF and in terms of quantum? So this is where understanding of research is very important today when you're buying any property. All right, because why? The 980 square feet unit is actually the triple key, and they are actually cheaper. So very interesting findings here. And for the smaller 947, they are the proper 3 bedrooms, which means people are actually willing to pay more for a proper 3 bedrooms. And let's take a look at the unit layout so that you have a better idea. So let us just go to block 3. Oh wait, should be block 1. Actually, block 1 then will have the triple key configuration. Okay, we can take a look. All right, so this is the very typical triple key layout, where after for you come in, you have 1 full unit on the left, and then by the second one, including the kitchen, and then the third one. So this is very ideal for investors who want to kind of maximize your returns a little bit. And so, but of course, you as a buyer, when you're buying this property, in the event you're just purely looking at rental, I think this will be very good to help you get passive income. But in terms of capital appreciation, that's a little bit different, because this kind of layout may not be so functional for homestay. And that's the reason, I think that's also one of the reasons why the prices are actually slightly lower than a normal typical 3-bedroom, which is 936. You can take a look at the size. As you can see, this is a proper 3-bedroom configuration. Yeah, so from here, it gives us a good indication like, okay, today, if I'm looking at Gem Residences 3-bedroom, how should I compare? And let's coming back to the average per square foot. So average per square foot right here, you can see on top, there is the green bar, black bar, as well as the red bar. So the average is the black bar, and you can see the average per square foot is about $1,838 per square foot. So when the TOP in 2019, this is how the prices goes. And let us take a look at the next younger property, which is Trivista. All right, the TOP 2011, and they are slightly further away from Orie, which means they're also further away from the MRT site. So that's where you can actually do some comparison. So for Trivista, it's 590 units, TOP 2011. Configuration of buyers are also the same, PR as well as Singaporean. So let us take a look at the average 3-bedroom per square foot. Same thing, we're looking at the green, black, and red bar. you just look at the black bar, which is the average per square foot, going about $1,776 per square foot. As I mentioned, this is only just an average. So even sometimes when you're looking at research, you only take the average per square foot. It may not be the most accurate. And that's why when we want to dive into research, we want to compare even the specific units that we are able to see the specific floor, facing, per square foot, and size. That's why when we are looking at average, it may not give you the most accurate data comparison. Yeah, so this you can see for Travista is averagely about $1,766 per square foot. And let us look at the next youngest property, which is Bishan Loft. So Bishan Loft, do take note, only there are no smaller units. So the biggest unit is a 3 and 4 bedroom configuration. So even the unit type in each development is extremely important. So let us take a look at Bishan Loft. All right, 384 units back TOP in 2003, and only Singaporean and PR, no foreigners at all. And let us take a look at the per square foot average for a 3 bedroom. All right. So average per square foot is about $1,526 per square foot. So the question is, why is this important? Because if we take all the average out, the average per square foot between all these three properties, they works out to maybe about 1,600 plus per square foot, which means in terms of quantum, it should be about 2.1 million range. And this is going to help us later on as we jump right straight into the numbers to know what is happening. All right. So why the reason why we need to understand numbers of the pricing of the transacted prices is because today we know how to calculate based on land price, how much the break even, the construction cost, everything. And for Orie, right, you can see their break even is about 2,305 per square foot per PPR. And whereas Gem Residences, which is the youngest of all, TOP in 2019, you can see that the per square foot that they purchased is 1,261. So we are talking about almost a times 2 times of the per square foot value in just how many years? In just 5 years, right? TOP. So this also allow us to understand, because of the demand and because of how Singapore has progressed over time, the per square foot jump has to be accepted. All right, it has to be accepted. And the moment you as a buyer, you cannot accept what is happening in the property marketplace, then that also could be one of the reasons why you're always sitting on the fence, watching things move, but you did not take any action. All right, so this is quite important. So later on, we'll be also doing surrounding live prices to do some comparison. And today, a very important thing that I also want to share with everyone is sometimes when you buy a property, right, you just want to jump into it because you're kind of familiar with the location, or perhaps you just used to stay there. Or maybe you've been hyped up because everybody has been talking about it, social media is talking about it, and you just say, hey, other people doing it, I also want to do it. So, from my perspective, that's not a strategy at all. Okay, that's called a hope and chance kind of situation. So we want to really study a little bit deeper. So one of the key things that I got a lot of people asking me is, hey, with Coach Edmund, with prices going so high with Chuan Park, Emerald Katong, wow, the demand is so high, almost 100% sold. Is the pricing too high, too much to accept? Or is there really so many people buying? So do you also have some of all these questions in your mind and you do not know how to actually navigate through some of all these answers? Well, so if you have, maybe you can just comment below you need help so that we can actually use research data, facts, and numbers to guide you to understand the property market a little bit better so you can navigate yourself and make better informed decisions for your own family. So at a glance, right, Toa Payoh, there's a lot of developments there. But that's where a lot of the homeowners' mistake is. They tend to look at the number of projects and it seems like, oh, there's a lot of properties out there. But we have done the tabulation. Actually, if you ask me, the total number of properties combining GEM, Trivista, Sky 11, Orlando Towers, and even Trialis, right? The numbers are only 2143 units, okay? Or 21 units. So actually, if you ask me from a supply perspective, in such a mature town, is it really oversupply, which is what a lot of people are always concerned. So with 2143 and if I plus 700, the 777 units at Orie, right, we are just close to 3,000 units. So in Toa Payoh, such a mature estate, right, this is massively undersupplied. Okay, why? So we're going to cover where the demand will be coming from later and why do I say that this area is massively undersupplied. So we also want to do some comparison between some of these older properties. Of course, we don't need to compare everything. But one of the key questions that we are always asking ourselves is, how much will Orie be launching? How many of you agree? How much will Orie be launching, right? So maybe you can also use the comment, right? Type in your guess, or like I said, at this moment, nobody knows how much is going to be launched. But for the fun of it, why not? Let us guess whether any one of us are correct in terms of the per square foot. So I tend to use data and numbers to kind of predict or project myself. I mean, I don't have any magic crystal ball. So whatever I say also can be incorrect. But I think from sometimes when we analyze long enough, a lot of properties, we'll be able to see certain patterns and certain pricing that we have also successfully actually highlighted both for Chuan Park, Nava Grove, as well as UK in terms of the average per square foot. But here is something that I want to warn every one of you here. So a lot of news and a lot of news will be out there from now onwards all the way because of certain pricing, certain PSF. Just understand if you find that the pricing is a little bit too low, then it's usually too good to be true. So please don't set yourself the expectation that the prices are supposed to be low because it's not going to be. So let us study this from a data numbers perspective. So if we look at Bishan Loft, TOP, the average per square foot, I've listed them down. Of course, we don't know Orie. And if you can see from Bishan Loft as well as Trivista, right, they are aged as it goes, 8 years different, and the per square foot is about 204 per square foot different. And as we go from Trivista to Gem Residences to even the next younger property is also 8 years different. And this is only $72 per square foot. So the question is, if we go from Gem Residences to Orie, how much should it be? What is the average per square foot? So of course, right now, everybody is guessing and kind of projecting what is the prices. So based on the land price, the construction cost, later on, I will also be sharing with you how do I come out this figure? All right, how many of you want to know? If you want to know, really stay through all the way because I'll be sharing with you how do I come out the average per square foot for Orie as well. But let us use this as an argument for discussion's sake. Let's say they launch at $2,600 per square foot. Okay, don't quote me. Like I say, this is more of an estimation, just a guide. Guessing, we are guessing here. So then what happened here is the difference between the Gem Residences as well as Orie is going to be $762 per square foot for 9 years. You will start looking at the past trends. Did it actually went up so fast? So the main number one question you might have is, wow, then Orie super overpriced. You see, so I actually did one video previously. Y'all can actually check out on the last 3 launches, right? That I actually covered Chuan Park, EOK, as well as Nava, and I determined their price gap analysis using similar formula. So you can actually check out that video after this, so you can actually get a little bit more in depth on how we do price gap analysis between projects in a similar location. So I just give you a screenshot, right? So this is what we did, right, during then when we did the last project. So there was also a difference between Chuan Park and between Chuan Park and the previous launch, the youngest launch, as well as Americatong. And then we compare this to even Tembusu Grand, Nava Grove, of course, we compared it to Pine Tree, right? So this is how we did the comparison to find out what's the average per square foot. But let's say we come back to here. If we come back to the Orie situation, so from a difference of $762 per square foot for 9 years, which means averagely per year is going about $84.6 per square foot each year. So we also must acknowledge that today this property is in a RCR. Because previously when we were looking at the Chuan Park, okay, we used Chuan Park, which is an RCR comparison. Their averagely, based on the estimated price that we look at, was about $60 per square foot. Okay, about $60. And even if we pull down a lower PSF, it's about 53. So 53 to $60 per square foot year on year versus the previous older property. So for Orie and Gem Residences right now, they're about $85 per square foot, and being in RCR, I think can justify lah. But is this a little bit more premium as well? Because in the location, it's RCR, it's very different, right? So now, right now, all of you already know Chuan Park, which is near MRT and OCR, is already going at least 2005 plus per square foot to even 2006 plus per square foot. So we already launched at the same price. That is the very number one question. So I believe, right? So this is something that I believe that the developer will definitely ride on this healthy sentiment to launch. And precisely why they all are trying to launch in the first quarter, even with Chinese New Year coming, most people are holiday mode. They have to get back to work, that kind of situation. But yet the developers still try to launch. And will this be a sell-out project? In my opinion, I don't think so because of all these factors. And also using past experience where January 2024, there was also a previous project that was launched and it was a lukewarm situation. Okay, it was a very slow launch and it's none other than Hill Heaven at Hillview by Far East. So they also launched in 2024 January during either before or after Chinese New Year. I cannot remember, but it was a very slow launch during that period. But please also understand, slow launch doesn't mean that property cannot buy. Okay, it's not about the launch number of sales has nothing to do with whether the potential of that property has or not. It also has nothing to do with, that means the property is a lousy property, all right? That is a wrong parameter altogether that I want to make sure that all of you get that in your head. All right, so eventually right now, if you look at Hill Heaven and Hillview, right, is one of the lowest, very attractive, very sensitive price, be it for the 2 bedroom, even 3 bedrooms. And right now, they are easily over 70 over percent sold. All right, so what happens in the beginning doesn't mean it translates that this is a lousy property, because if it's lousy, then they shouldn't be getting such a good sales. So same thing, sometimes it's all about timing, and with Orie launching during Chinese New Year, let's say we have to see how it goes. Maybe a lot of them will be overseas, and then will you actually delay your trip just for this launch? Okay, type in the comment if you are doing so. So if let's say you're really overseas and you really want to go for Orie, don't worry. All right, we are still able to help you with the balloting, the process, the administrative, and guide you through this entire balloting. Because we already have some clients who will be overseas, and we're going to help them with it at the same time. So we will be doing a lot of pre-preparation with you so that we can shortlist the unit safer beforehand. So because of this run through with EOK and Chuan Park kind of market buyer sentiment, a very bullish market, there will definitely be some price warning that I want to put out to you all. Okay, the price trap is very real. So can you imagine right now, maybe you are already receiving, sometimes people are already putting out information like 1.5 mil X, 1.5X mil for a 2 bedroom, for example. And you kind of just accept that, oh, this is going to be the pricing that they're going to sell, or even maybe close enough. So please don't use that as your expectation, because that will be incorrect. All right. Whatever pricing out there is always a marketing strategy. They are always using the lowest price, maybe not the best facing, to draw your attention. And it's us as consumer, we have to be also do our own due diligence that if it's too low, it's just too good to be true lah. Okay. And then sometimes we set our expectations so high that we like, oh, this is the best price. So I think this is the lowest price. I think I can accept. But then when the real price come out, it's much higher, then you kind of feel sad lah. Or because this is exactly what happened, right? Chuan Park. All right, Chuan Park, we all know their break even is about 2,229 per square foot. That's the break even price. And then end up, how much did they actually sell for? $2,579 per square foot. So this is a $400 jump. Okay, a $400 jump based on the indicative. So that's almost a 20% margin, which is averagely, if you ask me, every businesses will do lah. Okay, it's average about 20%. So now that you hear from me, do you feel safer if you have bought Chuan Park? All right. Of course, if let's say you miss it due to whatever reason, your Q number is no good, or you find that the prices are a little too high. So the question is, why would you think that the developer will be selling you at cost price or sell you much, much lower? You see, so all these are actually wishful thinking. Perhaps you are not being guided properly, or people are advising you in the wrong direction, which makes you feel a little bit more frustrated. Then you start asking, why developer like that? Don't sell me cheap. And then I have no chance to buy. That kind of situation will happen. So always study data from a realistic perspective. And that's why I also want to use 20% of the margin as a kind of a norm as we move forward. Because for Emerald Katong, they of course bought the land lower because of harmonization. So we always have to add about maybe about 5 to 7% harmonization. So everybody was saying that, wow, this one's so low. Then everybody jumped in. And of course, if we add on the harmonization, this works out to maybe with the harmonization plus the 20% margin, right? It works out to maybe about $2,400 per square foot. All right, that's the average. But then how much did Emerald Katong launch? 2,600. Wow, much higher. So in this case, they are almost making 30% margin, almost. So what to who? What to developer. Okay. So if Orie also use a same strategy to do a 30% margin, then very high chance Orie can go up to $3,000 per square foot. But the higher floors maybe. All right. So, but don't quote me now. Like I say, we don't know the pricing, but we're just using some of all these things to kind of indicate what is going to happen. And today, if you are seriously going for either the Orie, and of course, there are a lot of other mega launches that are going to come out. We have the Alta at Clementi. We have Parktown Residences. And of course, there are some of the smaller developments that has also been launched in the first half of 2025. And you seriously want to consider what you can do, and you want to prepare yourself before you go for the ballot, then you want to kind of scan the QR code and reach out to us quickly so that we can guide you through the process. How is it being done? How can you feel safer in this process? All right. So of course, for Orie, we all know school is a very, very main thing. And when we are doing our research, we realize actually a lot of the properties near town actually don't have so many schools normally. All right, so with schools, right, it does give you a huge advantage because you're also closer to town, you see. And this could be one of the reasons why during that time when EOK was launched or even Grand Diamond, they were actually even Continuum, they were actually were selling quite well because of the school effects. So there are two effects that we are always seeing for home buyers, and they usually want to have these two in their purchase. The first is the school effect. The second is the MRT effect for any homeowners. But also do take note, whenever you have the school and the MRT effect, there will definitely be a premium to it. So you have to be very careful with this price trap where you overpay for the MRT or even for the school. Not that you don't need those, but sometimes we do confuse ourselves with the pricing because of emotional purchase. We were like, oh, if it's MRT, it's very convenient for me. If it's school, well, next time I sell those families that will want the school. And that's the reason why, if you let's say you look at integrated properties, they are always called at a premium, but buyers are still buying it at a premium, and they still buy it. Why? Because they always feel, hey, very easy for me to go down to just buy my food and then I go back home. It's so convenient. So in today's days and today's consumer behavior, I believe and I have been seeing homeowners are actually valuing convenience as a cost. So today you must also be very careful how much are you weighing in this convenience cost. Because sometimes you are so convenient to it, it's so near to you or familiarity, right? There is still a premium that you must be looking down. On our end, we are still looking at down to the entry price as well as exit strategy. Not that we don't put emotion into the selection, but we cannot. Because if we use that, then we cannot be impartial. So our role is really to kind of facilitate this entire process with you during your purchase. Yes, you can go in with your emotional directions, but we have to come in with the data, the numbers to guide you through if this is a safe option for you. So very quickly, let us take a look at between Orie, and I also place in Gem Residences map so that you can actually see Orie is definitely closer. Okay, closer to the MRT, about 5 minutes walk. And the only main difference you can see, both of them are actually quite similar setup. Or both of them have the lap pool in between, you see. And for Orie, it's a north-south facing, okay, north-south facing configuration. And so that's why one of the main differences between these two, which is the Gem Residences is a multi-story car park. Okay, multi-story car park, whereas Orie is a basement car park. But do take note, their basement car park is not 100%. It's only maybe about 80 to even 85% car park lots. So do take note on that. And one of the other comparison, if you can remember, or if you have been following my videos, you will have known that actually in another district, we also have such configuration where one project is multi-story and the other is under basement. So if you can recall which one, type in the answer in the comment section. That means you have been following my videos for quite a while. All right. So besides looking this, we also want to do some comparison. All right, we want to use the latest project as a comparison and the closest in the entire Toa Payoh area. Because some of those in Toa Payoh, the earliest is General Residences in 2019. So I still want to compare something a little bit younger. So the closest one that we can come out is Jadescape. Okay, Jadescape at Shunfu, because they TOP about 2022, so they are the youngest property. So let us take a look at the for Jadescape, right? Jadescape, let's take a look. All right, so for Jadescape, if you look at their 3-bedroom property price, right, you can see it's 2022 TOP. And if we take a look at 3 bedrooms, their overall average per square foot is already $2,176. So even Shunfu, that's why you can see there's always a disparity between a younger property as well as an older property. And our job is we cannot just compare the older ones to the younger one. Wow, the one so cheap, mine is so expensive. I think that's a wrong parameter to use. You also want to take a bigger radius of properties to see what are the patterns of the trends going on for this. So also take note for the Orie is a harmonized project. All right, so we do need to take note of that later on. And so if Orie are going to launch about 2005 to 2006, is it worth the difference in terms of per square foot? All right, so do come on, guess yourself, what will your guess in terms of the per square foot inside the comment section? Okay, so because we understand that today for Ori, they already bought a land at a certain cost, and we did a estimate price matrix just to give us a good gauge. Like if let's say they are going to sell at 2003, which you and I, you know, is impossible lah, because they bought the land at 2003 ma. So even at 2003, their 5 bedroom is already costing 3.3 million, but let's be realistic. This will not be the case. Okay, so we have different price point, and if you ask me, it should be hovering between this range lah. It should be within this range that I find that the prices should be very attractive in this range. And of course, for Ori, we are talking about very high rise, go up to 40 floor. So the higher floor units will definitely be loaded with more premium. And that's something that later on in the video, I will also be covering. So today, if you are buying a property like this kind of high rise, what should we do as a busy professionals and homeowners? Should we go for the highest floor and pay a huge premium over it? Or should I just buy the low floor so that it will make our what do you call it, our purchase more palatable and easier for us to exit in the future? So there's different strategy going on. All right, so something very interesting I want to just share with you all is that today you can see that the 3 bedroom they go from 850 and then jump to 1023. So if you ask me for 3 bedrooms, right, later on there's an interesting finding that I found that one of the thing that not say I dislike lah, but I wonder why the developer do it this way is that based on the unit mix and being a mature estate with all the good schools, right, I'm quite shocked that they did not do a lot of 3 bedrooms. Okay, at least the 3 bedroom premium lah. Oh, actually the numbers are not a lot. Maybe about 20% only out of the numbers. And those with a tighter budget, and you're looking at, it's a pricing strategy if you ask me what the developer is doing, so that they can keep the 850 pricing very attractive for people to purchase. And if let's say today you really want to buy into the location with schools, then you have to go for the bigger ones. You see, so it's a huge jump. And if you really cannot cannot afford because your TDSR, your affordability is not there, and you still want the prime location for the schools, then you suck thumb lah, go for 850 lah. So you will still buy something, right? But overall, I believe that today they have only about 20% of their number of units for 3 bedroom. It's quite a shock for me. Okay, it's quite a shock for me how they are doing this. But I believe based on the per square foot, this also gives me a indication that the per square foot will not be very low lah, or so that they want those who are really able to afford to kind of just buy into the right development units. So if you look at the facing and everything, let's say we just use C1, which is the 850 per square, 850 size. So C1 is actually, there's, let me see, yeah, it's only 2 blocks and they are north-south facing. So these are the only 2 stacks, which means 80 units, okay, for you to ballot for. And we all know balloting is all by chance. There's no strategy behind. But after you ballot, the strategy has to come in by choosing the correct unit. So today I want to also pre-warn every single one of you here. If today you are really just going for balloting or you are intending to enter the market, and it may not necessarily mean that you must go for a balloting process. Maybe you're also looking for current launches or even some of the resales. You may not want to waste your chance on just waiting for the balloting because this is all really, really by chance. And if you did not get the number that you want or the units that you want is really out by then, you could be missing out on other future opportunities, which is what happened for EOK and Chuan, that we did advise our clients to have certain backup and alternative plans while we were balloting. So if you really need some advice on that, how do we guide you through that process, do reach out to us and we'll be very much happy to share with you what we have done for other clients and families and how did we enter the market with no stress, no praying that, wow, we can get the unit, that kind of situation. Everything is through data, numbers, and facts, right? So today, if you're lucky enough to get the north-south facing, then wow, the higher units will be very exciting. So most of it around are about 10 plus to even highest is only 22nd floor, which most of the unit will not be facing here, so it doesn't matter. But if you're facing the north facing or even the south facing at the 19th floor, as long as you can clear fourth floor, actually is already good enough. So the facing of this is very, very beautiful. And that is also one of the key things that if you want to go for 40th floor units, you can only get it there. That kind of situation. So we always call this the $1,000,000 view, right? The $1,000,000 view where, yes, we can enjoy this view, but also prepare to pay a premium. So this is the northern view. And then you have the southern view. Also fantastic. You open your balcony. Fantastic. At night, wow, lagi different landscape, right? Wow, your entire lights and everything kind of come up. So I believe today there will be people who are hardcore Toa Payoh one, and they know that the moment you can go 40th floor, you can go higher floor. There will be buyers willing to pay for the high floor. So there's always this saying, right? Today I pay for a premium, which means in future I also want to sell it at a premium. So is it a fact? I believe so. But of course, that also depends on the pricing because you will definitely get a smaller group of buyers who will value just the high floor level versus the pricing. At the end of the day, when we do research of your entry and your exit price, we are always looking at how easy is it for us to exit. So today, yes, it's not that I don't want to pay a premium for this, but how do I sell it in future? All right. So we always want to buy with the intention to sell. Okay, write this down. Buy with the intention to sell ultimately. Okay. So we're going to also study a little bit of the layout. So at the moment of this video, unfortunately, we don't have the 850 square foot layout yet from the developer. So the only one that we have is 1044. Again, all these layouts are subject to change. So whenever we have the latest updates, we will also be sharing with you through this video. So don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and then put a notification bell so that when we have the latest update about Orie or even other developments updates, you can be notified and be updated. All right, so 850 square feet is not out yet, and my guess is the developer don't want to release. So the moment the 850 is out, right, then maybe everybody only want to go for the 850 lor. So they're also trying to see are there any major changes they need to make. But again, do take note, 850 is only about 10%. So it's 10%, that means it's only like a ballot in a ballot situation. But if you really like, let's say for example, even this 1044 is also maybe about 10%. Oops. So maybe also about 10% in terms of the number of units. So this is really by luck to get this kind of layout. But if you really like this kind of layout, which is very fantastic, right? You come in, you have a foyer area, you can actually put your shoe rack, you have a proper enclosed kitchen, and you have a household shelter, you can double it up as a storeroom. And this is a proper yard with WC. So this layout, I think moving forward for all the different projects coming up from 2025, all the 3 bedrooms, this is like a minimum already. Especially if you have a helper, you have 2 to 3 kids, you need to have minimum this kind of 1023, 1044 kind of size and layout. And this is very important. Why? Because this is a functional property unit where the moment when you purchase, you do not need to change out from your house so fast. You can very comfortably stay there easily beyond 8 years to 10 years because all the functionality of this unit is there for you even when your kids are growing up. They want to each have one room. This is doable. All right, so this is why this kind of layout is something very favorable. But if let's say today you know that there's only 10% chance of getting this unit and you want to get this kind of layout for your family needs. So what if I can share with you that there's actually similar layout in different location, but the location is still quite good one. So you can see actually it's quite similar. This one with a foyer, the one that the one that we shortlisted actually don't have a foyer, so you actually save a little bit more space. But the rest of the functionality is very similar. You have a store area, and you have a yard and a WC. You have a yard and WC. But what this other development has is that you have an extra storeroom. Okay, extra storeroom. The rest of it is very similar. 1, 2, 3 bedroom. 1, 2, 3 bedroom. Okay, the rest of it are very similar. So today, if you are looking for alternative selections, this is how we do before you purchase or ballot anything. We want to try to find the right property at the right price or maybe the best price possible for you. So you no need to, you feel sad after it if you cannot get the unit or the ballot number 3 cannot make it. That kind of situation. So if you ask me, are there layouts like this? Yes, and even with an extra storeroom. And most importantly is that this unit is also in RCR. Very prime location, okay? You cannot say lousy to it, right? Confirm, okay? The entire development has lesser units, which means it's more density. That means you have more greens, there's more landscaping as well. Surrounding has a lot of amenities and shopping mall for you for your convenience. And most importantly, the one that we shortlisted is 100% car park and it's basement car park, just to stress. Okay, so if today you are also looking out for something that is similar to Orie and you want to get a second opinion, do reach out to us. We'll be more than willing to share with you how we can help you to find the right property in today's marketplace instead of just going for ballot as well. All right, but for of course today you have, due to whatever reason, timeline, everything, hey, Orie is the one for you. Let us help you at least to find the correct unit and at the correct pricing. I think that's very important. So today, based on the estimate, right, you could be seeing that, hey, today, based on the average, let's say is 2008, 2009, or even 3,000 per square foot based on this price matrix, right? You could be asking yourself like, wow, if this kind of pricing for a 3 bedroom, let's just use 3 bedroom premium, 2.8 million, 2.9 million, 3 million, then maybe I should go for resale. How many of you are thinking that? Then because resale are you generally cheaper, so then you want to go for the lower price unit, correct? Lower pricing, cheaper. And some of the older properties are even bigger inside. You see, so this is also one of the consideration factors you as a buyer have to go through. It's not just about looking at the new launches. One of the mistakes I always see buyers look at is they only look at that project that they're going for. Then because they like it so much, right, they never do any comparison among the others really. They just very insistent, EOK, Chuan, EOK, Chuan. That's it. Oh, but today you're buying $1 million property, more than $1 million property. I believe you should have some understanding and knowledge before you make any decision. All right. So we are here to facilitate and help you connect all the dots so you can make a better informed decision for your own family. So the question is, if a 1023 per square foot, let's say even at $2,008 per square foot is about 2.864 million, how much are the resale going for? What is the price gap? And that's why we always like to do price gap analysis. And we want to compare what is the price gap between the nearby properties, right? Gem Residences, Trivista. Okay, so that's what we want to look into. So I want to kind of show you how we look into this data point using our pro trend. So let us put in the youngest property, which is gem residences. Okay, gem residences. So we want to only look at 3-bedroom because we are doing a very similar comparison. Of course, if you want to go for 1, 2, or even 4 and 5 comparison, you can reach out to us personally so we can guide you through what are the research that we have done so far as well. So let us pull out the last 5 years transaction. Okay, and this is where we start to see the trend. Okay, so we can see the trend from 2016 all the way to 2024. And we want to kind of ignore the 2024 because it's not a full data. So we just want to use the period until 2023. Okay, 2023. So then when we look at this general residences, we can see the average per square foot, maximum per square foot, as well as the average per square foot, about $1,765 per square foot. And there's a volume of 47 units being transacted over this period of time. So let us look at the second oldest, second youngest or second oldest, second youngest, second youngest, which is Trivista. Okay, Trivista. So same thing, this time around, we also need to use apple to apple. Always do deeper comparison, and you cannot anyhow just compare a 1-bedroom to a 3-bedroom. Then your data will be all over the place. So with this access that we can provide you, you can dive in deeper to understand what is actually happening. So here we can easily pull the entire Trivista because Trivista is older. You see, almost one cycle difference. So today you say that, oh, Trivista, because it's younger, it's older, so I should be buying it at a lower price point. Agree? All right. So this is what we all think. Because gem is younger, so gem we should pay higher price. But in this case, a little bit different. Can you see Trivista in terms of their average per square foot, right? Is lower. Okay, it's much lower. But the average price, because of the size, is actually bigger. So you must always study both PSF as well as size as well as quantum together. And today, over this period, you can see the average pricing. So today, when we look at gem residences, when they launched, Trivista was a resale. So everybody was saying that, hey, today, instead I paid $1,421 for gem residences, I should go and buy Trivista at $1,325 per square foot because it's cheaper, it's a resale. Agree? So the same situation right now, you'll be comparing Orie with gem residences like, hey, gem residences is cheaper leh. Orie is going to launch so high, then I should buy gem residences. So this is usually the resale versus new launch kind of comparison. But what I want to share with you is you must always study the price gap. The price gap during then, right, is only 7.25% versus how many years? By then it was about 7 years. A 7 years old property versus a new property, the difference is only 7.25%. So what is your risk of buying that new launch? Of course, there are other components and other parameters we have to look at lah. While you're waiting for the new launch to be built, you still need to maybe rent a place, or stay with your parents. So there's some costs involved. But throughout the entire session I share with you all, right, we are always looking at entry price. If today the difference is only 7.25%, how big of a risk that you can get a fresh new 99-year lease at only with that small premium? Because today, right, if you ask yourself between a gem residences and Trivista, what is the price gap? 11.49%. So in this case, when you first start to purchase gem residences, is gem residences actually performing better? So that's how we want to look at. Today is not looking at how cheap a property is, my friend. It's about how much growth this property can go for. All right, so that is the most important uh, parameter, if you ask me, to look at property. All right, so it's not really just about buying the cheapest property in one area and then that's it. All right, so we want to do this because today, if I pull out another trend, Trivista property over the same period of time has went up about 23.47 growth. Great, right? No, it's not. It's an incorrect statement to say, "Hey, resale property don't grow." It's not. But I think, please, I want to really address this once and for all. It's not that only new launch can grow in terms of value, resale cannot. It's not. So if you have this misconception, please reach out to us so that we can kind of guide you through and understand it deeper. But whereas for gem residences, right, being a younger property, over the same period of time, you can see it went up about 28.36%. So this gives you a good indication that today, even though I pay 7.25% more, my growth over time is still much better. And your property at the end of the day is still younger, which means it will help you in your research, your exit strategy. All right. So that's why when we are comparing these prices, it acts as a filter. And this is not the only filter you need to go through. When we are doing our research for clients, we actually compare quite a lot of things. And the other thing that you also must do is to do layout comparison. Why? Today, everybody say, oh, go buy new launch. It's very safe. It's progressive payment. But ultimately, 4 years later, when it's ready, it will still become a resale as you compare to the rest of the developments, correct? So everybody will start seeing your property not as a new launch anymore, as a property that I can touch, I can feel, I can see. So you must see it like you are buying a resale. Why? Today, remember I shared, buy with the intention to sell. So today, when everybody becomes a resale, they will start comparing that only one factor, which is layout. Of course, price, but layout is going to be very important because that's how they're going to live inside the unit. So I want to pull out some comparison for 3 bedrooms so that you can see how Orie stands out versus the other gem residences as well as Trivista. Well, because these two are the next youngest, we don't want to compare 201. Also, let us take a comparison in this. All right. So gem residences, 3 bedroom. So first of all, Orie only covers about 10%. So there's a limited 3 bedroom supply. Then you may say that, wow, then if I buy because there's a limited supply, that means my prices is going to be very high. Correct, but you're only looking at that project. What about the rest? Okay, for gem residences, 3 bedrooms, they hold about 30% of the entire development. Okay, 30%. And if you look at the layout, okay, you also must agree that at different times, the layout segment build up is very, very different. Okay, so this is also one of the reasons why gem residences, this being a 3 bedroom unit, right? They don't have a yard. You can see they don't have a yard, no yard, and no toilet. WC. So it's a proper compact 3 bedroom functionality. Yes, it's an enclosed kitchen. It's a landscape layout with a very comfortable big balcony. But the new age of living habits do change. And this may not be enough, may not be sufficient. This is also one of the reasons why I always share with all the families, right? I encourage you not to keep your property too long. Okay, don't keep it too long. Because the moment when it's, because if you stay in that property too long, right, the buyer's behavior will change. The how the market moves also will change. And the newer developments are always catered for the future buyers in terms of how our lifestyle changes. So if not, developer will always build older type of design, right? But that's not always the case. They always build future designs, future layouts where future consumers can accept. So today, imagine if you hold on to a property for the next 20 years and you want to sell it to the younger generations, they may see it as outdated. You see, maybe the functionality of the space is not there, which is becoming some of the problem for some of the older properties, especially those with bay window, big balcony, big roof terraces, planter boxes, patio spaces. Not that people cannot buy, but their prices cannot grow because the younger, newer consumers are accepting what is current right now. So this is something that I always urge. If today you can have some flexibility, don't keep your property too long. Move with time. Okay, your lifestyle should move with the time, your property as well, so that you can actually cater to a bigger audience group in future whenever you need to exit from the property. All right, so for general residences, you can see this is what is happening. Okay, and right now you can see for Trivista. So Trivista actually almost 50% of their units are actually 3 bedroom. So now you start seeing it from a different picture, right? Orie only 10%, then the gem residences is almost 30%, and then now Trivista is 50%, which means there's actually enough 3 bedroom supply. So if you're thinking otherwise, this is the truth. Of course, this one is a 1098 square feet unit. But what is the difference between this unit? Even though the size is big, uh, we got planter box, TB. Okay, then we have what? Bay window, bay window, bay window. Wow, this one shack. So even though the actual size is big, okay, your livable actual area is actually much smaller. Oh, so this is why government came out the harmonization to kind of standardize a lot of stuff. I'm sure you want to pay for what you're using and living, you see. So sometimes when you're looking at properties, you don't just go for the bigger size, because the bigger size may not be that it's a good property, because they have some of all these things. The plunder boxes, bomb shelter too big, that kind of situation, right? So you want to have all this research done before you start buying, and not just looking at the size. Okay, size is just there, but when you start studying the layout, that's where we dive in deeper on what is happening. Okay, and one other thing to also highlight, that if it's a bigger unit size, it's not that you cannot afford. You must also ask yourself how to exit, because this is the reason why we are seeing a lot of the much older properties, even though they could be very good layout, ignore the age, their sizes are always very big, 1001, 1004, even 1005. And the overall quantum becomes big, too big, that today is based on our TDSR, our limitations of borrowing, right? It makes us harder to purchase the older properties because of the size. So this is also one of the reasons why, if today you're owning on 20 or 25 years property, right, and your unit is like 1003 or even 1006 size, 1006 square feet unit, right, you realize that your growth of your property is very slow. It's not that your property is no good, but the affordability of the consumers are limited. So they need to have a very high earning power in order to go for that kind of property. So then they was, if they can pay for that kind of quantum 4 million, they have a lot more choices as well. Easy. So today, these are what we are seeing in the marketplace, and these are very real because of policy changes, even our harmonization changes. All these do affect us. Okay, so one thing I also want to stress, for Orie, right? One of the very unique things, as just now I shared with you, general residences have triple key, so the other rare layout is dual key in Orie. Of course, the layout is subject to change. We don't know whether is this going to be the finalized one. But then if today you really want to get a 3-bedroom dual key, because you want to siam the ABSD, you want to actually rent out one or stay in one, rent out the other one kind of configuration, then Ori could be something that you can actually explore. But there's only also 10%, also 10% of the unit. Okay, so those who can get it, you have your different plan, but I just share with you the numbers are very small. So is it worth to really ballot for this and hope that you get the right price choice you need? If your numbers come out only left second floor, will you want to give it up? So that's why there's always this stress during balloting, right? You get your number, the unit not there, you are forced to choose something that is not so good, and because you already queue so long, you say, "Aya, just buy lah." Then sometimes you queue already, you get the numbers very good, but the prices is too high. Then you also tell yourself, I already queue so long lah, I just buy lah. So that is really a very real emotion that our role is to prevent you from falling into all these traps. My role is to share with you how to walk out from such ballot pricing, what are the prices that it really don't make sense that we need to walk out. That's why where every project we always have a walkout price, okay, walk away price, that we dare to pull you away, but will you allow us to pull you? That's a different story. Okay, so this is something that we have to also ask ourselves. So one of the key thing is, then who is the buyer? If let's say only really launching at this kind of pricing, who are the buyers really? So I can share with you, based on the current market situation, the buyers are really still the upgraders. Okay, so Toa Payoh, we have a lot of HDBs, and they are all transacting this kind of pricing, 1/million, 1.5 million. So all the buyers in future will all be headliners in the newspaper because there are so many upgraders, right? And $1 million going higher and higher. So this is something very real. And I also want to stress that today, if a HDB can already go above 1 million or even 1.5 million, do you think the developers will take this also into consideration, that mine is a condominium, or I want to sell lower than the average? Okay, so with the market sentiment very bullish, buyers are coming back in because of interest rates. there's a very strong sentiment currently, and in January, Chinese New Year, when nobody is doing anything, the what do you call it? Good good vibe. Okay, every New Year, everybody got resolution so everybody very, oh, I'm looking forward to 2025. That's also where I will believe a lot of mistakes will be made, to be honest. Okay, so my role here is not to prevent you from buying, but can we step back, slow down a little bit, and really study this from a research perspective before you make any decisions? All right. So that's why with this HDB situation, with the prices going up, I also want to share with every one of you here. Today, we are here to guide you make a better informed decision. Okay. We're not forcing you to do anything. So this is something that we have to be a little bit sensitive about. Okay, and today we all know there's a limited supply in the area, which means when there's low supply, there's pricing is going to go up. So you can actually check out one of my video in my other in the channel, right, where I actually talk about supply and demand and how it actually affect prices. Okay, so one of the few things that I want to just end off with, if today you are going for Orie, um, you have to ask yourself, do you really want to go for the highest floor? Okay, because it's unblocked and definitely you have to pay premium, or you intend to go for the mid floor. Sometimes the mid floor is also good enough. And the moment when you go higher premium, you must definitely hold the property beyond 10 years. All right. So with that, I also want to stress that we have done quite a fair bit of analysis video that you can use this as a reference point on how we can help you in the actual balloting day, whether it's for Ori, whether it's for future developments like Elta or even Park Down Residences. Do watch some of the videos so that you can understand the thought process that me and my team we have put together, and that's how we help a lot of homeowners out there to avoid making mistakes and avoid the price traps. Usually are very obvious, but because we are being overwhelmed with the emotions, we are overwhelmed with, wow, we love this, we want this location, we are blindsided to see some of the very obvious points. Okay. Even EOK, it has happened. Chuan Park has happened. I don't wish it to happen to you. Okay. The last thing you want is like some of them who bought already and then kind of message me and kind of ask me, Edmund, do you think I buy this price correctly? Did I make a right choice? Please come to me before you do anything so that at least we can still see how we can resolve instead of after purchasing. I don't think you will want to give up the unit because you have to give up your deposit. Okay. So if you are here really wanting to kind of go for any of the launches or even current launches, you are having some difficulty doing some comparison and you want us to help you, do scan the QR code to seek a second opinion, and we'll be more than happy to guide you through this period. And with that, I wish every one of you a great holiday to come. Maybe you're already going overseas soon or coming back soon. All right, have a great holiday. Yes, the launches is going to make us extremely busy, but rest assured, me and my team, we are still around. We can help you step by step into making the right decision before the launch happens for Ori. All right, with that, thank you so much. I see you guys when I see you.